Good morning, happy Friday. It's Tim in the woods. It's a beautiful, murky, dark autumn morning. So we're heading towards Scorpio season, and also this incredible alignment that we have on the 25th. You astrologers out there will know what is occurring. Great reveal, the big balance up, the leveling of the playing fields, and we can see some commotion occurring in the UK at the moment as the pantomime continues. I don't do politics, don't get involved in it, quite simply because it is all a show. It's all a show to draw in attention, to trigger emotional states, to cause divide, pick a side, and all of this kind of thing. So we're just going to focus on what is good, the best course of action, and the highest frequencies and the highest vibrations, and of course the smoothest pathway that we have available to us that is on offer. So I'm setting my intention and my energy for this November to be that. As the increase in distractions rise, and this can be within your immediate circle, or it can be in the world that you are existing in that is perpetually calling for your attention, find your center now. Find that center point, bring it back to your heart, bring yourself into alignment. David Esri and I were talking on Monday night in our workshop, which was a beautiful, powerful event about the discipline that we need, or regularly are called to apply to ourselves, to reset and everybody's talking about this great reset around the world, this kind of this seeded event that's being planted into the kind of the manifestation field of 3D, when in actual fact the great reset lies within us. When we reset ourselves back to 0 point, back to that heart-centered energy, everything else around us realigns to that frequency. And of course, the more people that are doing it, that the greater the collective field, until it becomes a majority. So the majority vibration is ultimately where the water level finds itself. Now, with this power of our collective, the power that we hold individually and as a group field, I'd just like to say how amazing the outpouring of love and healing for my good friend Diana Cooper has been. And as most of you will probably know, she's on the other side of her operation now, and is entering the recuperation phase, the healing phase. So I needn't say thank you for Diana, because you all know how absolutely overwhelmed and grateful that she is for all of the healing and all of the love and all of the good wishes and all the light that has been sent to her from around the world, literally from around the world, all poured in to support her as she went through the operation that she went through. And brings me on to the subject of the power of collective healing. Okay, so we hear these terms: send healing, I'll send you healing, or we'll gather together and send healing as a group. And quite often it becomes emotion. It just becomes a motion that we go through, and on the other end of it, we send these energies out into the world, and more often than not we aren't rewarded with an immediate verification or validation that that energy or that healing has done what we intended it to do. In many cases we just send it out, and a situation will be subtly or greatly affected by the group energies. But there is so much more evidence now of the universe around us changing when we place the intention of our manifestation into it. So when you genuinely from the heart send healing, now healing is it's a huge subject. When you say the word healing, I say it in inverted commas because everything that aligns the unaligned back into a state of alignment can be regarded as healing. It can be healing for the planet, it can be healing for an individual, it can be healing for an animal, it can be anything. The word is kind of overused a little bit in the spiritual field because we tend to apply it to so many different factors. But to define the word healing, you have to take away your personal perception of what you are expecting. Okay, so if you are looking at something or a person or a situation and you are wanting to send healing to it because within your mind, within your perception, it is not right, then that kind of isn't the reason why you send the energy out in the first place. It needs to come from a point of almost loving neutrality, where you send that energy out and you do so without any expectations. Your expectations are simply to provide the outcome for the highest good. Now, within the circumstances of Diana, that was she actually called for that healing to be sent. Okay, so that was an invitation for everybody to place their love, their energy, and in many cases the gratitude for the work that she's provided and the information that she's brought through over the years, is to just simply be there, to take an aspect of this beautiful, powerful energy that comes through it and send it upon request. And in many cases that's the universal flow that we adhere to, or one of the biggest spiritual rules, or you know, I don't really like the word rules. Rules is a bit 3D, but there are set laws or universal kind of protocols that say that when we send out healing, when we do something for another person or a situation, if it is without invitation, that it is sent under the law of grace. Now, I've spoken about this before because in many cases we've realized, particularly in the more recent era of spirituality, that everything has to be done with permission. Okay, so with Diana Cooper, she requested and the world responded. You responded, I responded, we all collectively poured that love and healing into her situation, and wow, did it work. I mean, Diana perceives at a very, very high level. She sees, she feels, and she knows, and was quite literally just bathed in this love on a daily basis. But on other occasions, there will be scenarios where we observe something, and from our point of perception, we think that is an unhealed situation and it needs healing. And at that point, yes, we can sit down and we can send out the love and the healing and the intention, but due to the universal laws or protocols that we abide by being here on this planet, it's always sent under the law of grace. And the reason for that is because your intention and my intention and a group intention is actually incredibly powerful. Okay, so I'm talking now about the power of collective healing. I'm talking about the power of our intention and what we send out into the world, because that particular spiritual law is there for a very good reason. Now, if we decide that, or if we look at a situation or a person or a scenario and think to ourselves that that's not correct, I wish that situation or that person to be different or to be healed, that's our own personal perception. But what we're not taking into consideration is that the situation or the person that we're witnessing is undergoing their own personal path with their own lessons, initiations, choices. And although some of them might appear to be harsh, and in many cases are, it's not for us to decide that that needs to be different. So although we have that emotion, that empathy, that need to heal and change, what we do then is we take the collective energy, the healing, and we send it under the law of grace. And that's the big universal protocol. I'm going to say protocol, like, you know, rules, regulations, laws, all of these kind of words. They kind of are very attached to the 3D matrix that we've been so part of. So this protocol, this way of using our power and our manifestation when we're sending out an energy to a situation which we know and feel is out of alignment by our own process of elimination, then to do so under the law of grace means that the energy is sent and it is used when and if it is needed, and it has the backing of the universe when it does so. If we simply send this energy out without permission, it actually then has the effect of possibly interfering with a situation that is going to be involved with somebody or something's soul growth or choices or initiations. So it's a very old scenario, and one that we've seen occur many times. But it also indicates to us that the power of our collective healing is so strong, or the power of our collective intention is vast. So when we focus our intention upon a person and a situation, that then becomes the target of our manifestation. Okay, our thoughts, our interactions, our energy then reach out from us and begin to affect the situation. And this is part of why we're so powerful, and how we've been actually quite deeply misled, particularly over the last 10,000 years. The matrix that we've lived in, the third dimensional world, the Earth School, okay, has managed to convince the majority of people that have incarnated here that they are powerless. Okay, and the wave of awakening that is going around the planet at the moment is very much it tells a very different story, doesn't it? Okay, we are all realizing that we are far from powerless, okay, and we have an incredible amount of personal power, our own mastery, our own sovereignty, the gifts and the talents and the codings and the very essence of the beauty of our soul that has somehow managed to cram all of that light and all of that energy into this body, into the body that you're listening to this with, that point of perception, the soul personality, the physical incarnation of you. So you can understand very much from a 3D perspective why it is absolutely essential from where they're standing to keep people believing that they are powerless. But that game is over now. Okay, that ship has sailed. We no longer believe that we are powerless in any way, shape or form. But what we do have to learn is actually how to use our abilities, how to regain our power, embody our strength, actually engage in our beautiful world with an element of control and discipline that at the moment is still very much, it's in a state of flux. And this flux is occurring because we are remembering, we are returning and relearning our 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 gifts, our abilities. So when we are sending out all of this beautiful energy, when we are using the light of our soul to ignite and change the world around us, it's something that we are beginning to navigate from a much more grounded perspective. And in acknowledging the fact that we have the ability to change the world individually and collectively, it then also hands us the responsibility that we all acknowledge that needs to be handled with the greatest of love and of care and of consideration. Now, when we are being kind of prodded and triggered and kind of knocked about a little bit by the energies that are coming in, the light that is shining so very brightly on the misalignments of this planet, it has a tendency to knock us into it. It has a tendency to put us into a state where we are bouncing between survival or 3D and 5D, ego and heart. So again, it's about finding the center line. Okay, as we move into this, I believe it's the eclipse, the beginning, the Scorpio season. The energy of Scorpio is always very, very intense. That deep, kind of like almost penetrating gaze that flows into or through and with that water sign, and the very, very, very intense energy that a lot of us feel, and we're all transforming. Okay, so nearly the end of October. Nearly the end of October, then we've got November, and then we've got December, and then we've got the solstice, and then we launch into the next year. Now, next year is going to be, again, I mean, we say it all the time, it's going to be a powerful year. Well, they're all powerful years now. They're all powerful weeks. They're all powerful months. They're all powerful days. But it's how we use those scenarios and those situations that is going to define the coming year. And what is significant for me is it is now the second half, or it will be the second half of our 20-year process. The process that started in 2012 and finishes or concludes or comes to fruition in 2032. So once we enter 2023, this is the second half. Okay, now the way I want to look at it from my own personal perspective is the first decade was the graft stage. Okay, it's where I put in the work, you put in the work, we cleared, we worked on our personal alignment. We worked so hard on anchoring this light in and in many cases had to go through endless rounds of shadow work to kind of witness what's going on within ourselves and how it projects out and affects other people, mostly on an unconscious level through our behavior, by our reactions and by our perceptions. But I believe that we have worked through collectively the bulk majority of that now. The bulk of the clearing has been done, and although that doesn't mean that we're not going to have to work in this next half, I think what we can do is set our intentions to actually be part of a smoother process. Because if we're all believing that we're going to get hammered all the time, if we're all kind of like, oh no, there's another retrograde coming, or that full moon's giving me a whipping and all of this, then that is exactly what we will experience. So I'm going to use this period of time to set a smoother pathway, and I'd like to offer this to all of you that are tuning in and listening as a potential to embrace and actually begin to expect and intend and manifest from your own perspective. So we are collectively going to start ordering ourselves a smoother ride, a smoother pathway, an easier period of manifestation. And of course we're going to see the tests and the distractions and the things that are coming up to challenge us and trigger us and try and drag us back into the 3D energies. But we are now a majority energy in the fact that so many people have stepped into that heart energy and are learning to navigate it. And also when that happens, the aspect, or the higher aspect of the mighty I Am presence comes and begins to sit on its, the only way I've ever seen it is sitting on a golden throne, that beautiful, self-aligned, powerful, peaceful, calm energy that has the ability to change the world without doing so with drama and kind of all of the fanfares and carnivals that we see so very frequently in 3D. So that's my take on it. As we move into one of the most energetically intensive periods of this year, as we move towards the solstice, let's all set our intention for a smooth and an easy and a joyful ride. And if we do that, if we have the discipline to return back to center and also be aware of the spiritual laws of what we're sending out and what we will therefore receive as a result of it, I believe that it is actually going to feel so much smoother than any of us will have expected. Okay, so just as a little heads up, I'm not going to be doing a meditation Monday on Monday. I'm going to be doing it on Tuesday. I've got family commitments on Monday, but I will be back on Tuesday morning, so please don't think that anything has happened to me if I'm not there on Monday morning. And then really looking forward to the 26th, because I'm working with Lavisa Autor, my good friend, to bring you a Zoom unlocking the Golden Master Wisdom. And you might have seen the video that Lavisa and I put out the other day about working with Kuan Yin and the crystal skulls and returning the aspects of the Atlantean wisdom that we've been quite disconnected from for a good period of time. So if you haven't seen that, that is available on my page, probably one post ago. Sending you all so much love. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.